Hey, where are the white women at?
Hey, what's up everybody? It's been a while. It's your boy Seeker with another video. So today, I wanted to make a video, and sorry I haven't been on. I'm still sick. I've been getting better though. But you know, today I'm going to be making a video on a very touchy subject that I feel is gonna step all over people's egos, because I think, or the issue would seem is that a lot of people love to make a lot of emotional arguments and like think that their emotions overdrive reality or basic common sense. And essentially I was recommended this artist, and she seems to love talking a lot about art drama, and her videos always come off as she's this moral or art police or something. And I really dislike people like this. So to explain a little bit, what happened was here that someone decided to trace over someone's they took someone's art, they traced the pose, and then made their character out of it, which we're gonna watch the video and get into. I'm gonna speed it up so we're not stuck here forever. It's gonna be a long video though. But yeah, and then we're also gonna be talking about AI stuff as well, because I want to touch on that. So this is gonna be a long video again, so get ready for that. Let's go. Let me speed this up a little bit here. Let's go.
Have another art tracer, and this one might be a little bit of a debate because a fair amount of the tracing involves the pose, and we know that gets into an interesting debate. I'm curious as to what you think about pose tracing. Some people think it's valid, some people think it's not valid. Regardless, let's look at this whole story, this whole scenario unfold, and then make a conclusion, because
I mean, to be fair, I'm gonna start off the bat. No one, and I mean no one, owns a pose. You know what I mean? No one owns a pose, and a lot of people, I don't care about your feelings, that is just a fact. No one owns a pose.
some people do be liking to jump to conclusions before they even saw everything. This is all started with a tweet made by this individual called Ray, who goes by the Twitter handle Proximity. And they write, Sir Gaggle has been kindly asked to stop tracing and heavily referencing from my friend's art. I'm not against referencing art, but there was an attempt to handle this private, but Sir Gaggle blocked both of them. So,
well, there's a problem there, right? There's a big problem there. Let's play it again. So the problem is, right, is that you can ask someone to kindly stop referencing, you know, your art or your friend's art or whatever, but they are not legally inclined to do so, because in order for people to become good artists, you have to reference heavily. And a lot of times you're told also to trace other people's work so you can understand the shapes and etc. And before you go into this whole bullshit with me, you also have to understand that tracing happens even in the industry. I've worked for an indie company as an artist, right? I'm not gonna say what company, but you know, if you want to believe it, sure. If you don't, I don't care. So I used to work for an indie company. I'm not gonna say their name. And essentially, you know, they didn't care about that stuff. They care about you doing the job that you're supposed to be doing. And that's every company. You know what I mean? They don't care if you trace the pose. What they care about, or that you reference some other armor, as long as there's a difference and it doesn't get them in legal trouble, they don't give a shit. They want to make money, and they want you to make something for them. You know how many companies I know that trace, let their artists trace a pose and then let them add their own thing over it? Like, this is not a moral argument. This is an emotional argument, because people are trying to, they think that they control and they want to control and gatekeep something that they can't gatekeep. So, like, let's just go on with the video.
Referencing from my friend's art. I'm not against referencing art, but there was an attempt to handle this private, but Sir Gaggle blocked.
So you're not against referencing, or like, which one is it? You're mad because he's heavily referencing, but you're not against it. You're not against referencing art. And you could do things privately, and if the person doesn't want to listen to you, guess what? Tough shit. Move on. What the fuck can you really do? Like, honestly. I had a recent thing happen to me recently where someone took one of my sketches, and they were doing it clearly to troll me because they were pissed off for some reason, and took my sketch and put it in AI, for example, and then said, here, look, I finished helping you make it. And the character, the only thing that looked like my character was like a similar hairstyle and the pose. That's it. Other than that, the AI created something else. And I'm just sitting here like, yeah, that doesn't hurt my feelings. You can do that. I don't mind it. I'm not gonna get butthurt about it. I mean, it doesn't look anything like my character anyway, so. And even if it did, why would I get mad? Like, clearly you're just doing it to piss me off, so it's not gonna work on me. Like, really. But anyways.
Both of them. So here we have Sir Gaggle's artwork, and this is the pose in question, and we have some examples of referencing here. Where again, some people...
Yes, referencing. Look, I'm guessing this is Sir Gargle, whatever the fuck his name is, or she, hers, whatever. Right? Look at the difference here. Different costume, right? Different shade of brown, black hair, pink hair, totally different faces. There's some similarities, I guess, but that's it. One hand sticking out. Like, even if it was, let's say that the pose was 1-to-1. Clearly this character is more thicker than this character. And the pose does not belong to you. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is, man. Like, it's not that big of a deal like people try to make it seem. Here, let's see. Okay, so you have markings here. There's no markings there. She looks a little bit more Asian. She doesn't. She has big, fat, juicy lips. She doesn't. They have similar hats, but this one's bigger, clearly. The hairstyle is different, even though they're both black hairstyle. Or I guess we're gonna have to, you know, publicly humiliate people for using the same. The pose is definitely different. She's wearing different shorts. She's wearing shorts, but she's wearing different shorts. She's wearing a top, but it's different. Like, okay, you're wearing something similar. What, am I gonna beat up everyone that I see on the street now because they're wearing something similar to me? Like, hop the fuck off, man.
People like to make a statement of like, you don't own a pose, da 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 da. That is...
Yes, you don't own a pose. Deal with it.
The very interesting scenario to take, you know, like there's a very common poses, like putting a peace sign by your face. Okay, literally nobody owns that because
no one owns any pose. Any pose.
Every single person ever has probably done this at one point, okay? You don't really own that. But then when things start looking a little too similar, and there's a very heavy history of poses looking very similar, then...
Well, look, very similar, it doesn't matter. There's nothing against it that you can have a similar pose. See, you could argue that companies start suing when you start doing that, but at that point, you have to... Let's use the companies, for example, right? A company would sue you because it's their intellectual property that you're doing a similar pose, for example, to a character, right? And somehow you're going to use that as a moral argument or an ethical argument because, you know, they can sue. But here's the thing. Look at the Superman versus Shazam case, right? So a comic book company was sued by DC when they made Shazam, because apparently Shazam was copying Superman, even though both had different origins, both design-wise look very different, both have different powers. The only similarities is the super strength and the flying. So everything about the characters are totally different, and yet the court decided to take DC's side. Clearly an overreach from the court itself, a bias. And what does that say? It doesn't say that there's a moral argument or an ethical argument there. That whole debate or court case was bullshit. 100% bullshit. There was nothing similar between Shazam and Superman, and yet when they won, where were the pitchforks? Nowhere to be found. What happened? The crowd that's currently crying about AI and this tracing post bullshit or having similar posts or whatever. What did they do? Turned a blind eye. Didn't do shit. Didn't say anything. Nothing. Not a peep. Nada. And yet, what did DC do after they basically made a company go bankrupt? Guess what? They bought Shazam and kept them the same. Wow, look at that. The very character they were bitching about, the 100% a Superman clone, which he wasn't, by the way, they bought, and now it's theirs. It's almost like trying to use cases in court all the time to make bullshit arguments does not work, especially when those court cases, like the Superman and Shazam case, had something more to do with money than it did with any moral ethics. Not every case that happens in court is because there's something moral or ethical about it. A lot of times, a lot of people win because they have more money than you. That's that. That's basically it. So don't try to bullshit and gaslight me.
That like might make things a little bit more different. And with this is because we do have an admission. Also, no way, it says Sir Gaggle, #1 corn fan. That is literally my cat's name. He is not named after the band. I just think it's funny. February 16th, Ray DM'd Sir Gaggle with the photo we just saw, writing, "Hey, no bad blood, and I'm not gonna make a big deal about it since I've noticed you've taken heavy inspiration off of other art elements and designs for some time now. But I just want to let you know I'm not really comfortable with you referencing off of my art, and I've maintained this sentiment for a while now. Hope you understand. It's just uncomfortable to see online without being acknowledged for it." Oh.
Yeah, but it's not your problem or your business, to be fair. He's heavily referencing your stuff, pose-wise, or because they like the costume or whatever, but they're not infringing upon anything. They're not plagiarizing you or anything of the sort. So this seems more like a personal issue. And yet you said there was no bad blood and it's not a big deal, and then you go and make it totally bad blood and totally a big deal. Like, what?
Well, maybe this is not Ray DMing, but it's a DM to Sir Gaggle regardless. And Sir Gaggle responds, "Hi, I'm so sorry. I wasn't really thinking when drawing those art and designs." And then they send an overlap of the two poses, and you can see it's very similar. And they write, "I appreciate the honesty, and I've been actively ignoring other instances, but please be..."
Yes, it's similar because he probably copied the pose. Again, you can still see the differences. Bigger ass, more here, more there, the arm, da-da-da-da-da. The pose, again, does not belong to you. That's a hard reality that a lot of artists have to pull up with. I'm an artist myself. There's probably someone making money off pictures that I drew. And guess what? I'm not sitting here and crying about it. Does it suck? Yes. But what can you really do? You can't really do anything about it. And just because, and I'm not saying because you can't do anything about it, you can't bitch about it, because I'll definitely go and be like, look, this person stole my art. Just so you guys know, I drew this. That's it. But that's it. You know what I mean? That's getting your shit stolen is totally different than what's happening here. 100%.
Be more mindful and careful next time. This was almost 1-to-1. And Sir Gaggle says, "Okay, thank you again. I'm really sorry." So in some...
And here's another thing, because I know a lot of you are going to say, "Oh, but he said sorry," or "she said sorry." Here's the thing. A lot of people say sorry, not because they actually mean it. They're telling you sorry so you can shut the fuck up and leave them the fuck alone. It's called crowd control. A lot of times sorries don't mean anything. And this person doesn't really have to say sorry. Again, not illegal to do, not morally wrong to do. And about the credit thing, if you want to talk about, oh, you owe me credit, no. You know how many, the industry, even the industry itself, a lot of the artists that work for the industry don't get credit for the shit that they do. They either have to post it themselves so you know who did it, but the company usually doesn't give them any type of credit unless it's in the credit screen, and that's it. But they don't tell you what piece they did or etc. A lot, and people don't have pitchforks or anything. People turn a blind eye to that. I had a friend yesterday try to argue with me about this whole situation and told me that essentially something needs to be, that the system sucks. I was like, okay, then do something about it. But people don't do anything. People would rather raise up pitchforks, and like do this whole moral outrage on the internet because it's easier than actually standing up and actually, you know, standing up against these companies to have more protective rights against for artists and etc. And the problem again is the system, not the not the person that's doing this. This is totally different. You can't use a company argument for a person who doesn't work for a fucking company in the first place. And even then, half of the people who are complaining and bitching about this have done this and still do, and probably don't tell anybody. It's been part of art since the beginning of time. This is nothing new. Again, I'm going to step over people's egos because this is usually what it tends to be, ego-driven emotions.
Some cases that might be a little bit ambiguous, there might be plausible deniability. Here, again, the Sir Gaggle, the person who did it, literally admitted to it.
Didn't admit to anything, just said, I'm sorry that I traced it. Oh, well. I mean, I guess he admitted that he traced it, in a sense, but he's not really sorry, is he? And doesn't he really need to be? It's just a pose, man. It's not that big of a deal.
And then Ray adds, I reference poses myself, but it gets to a point where you're just...
Oh, so you do it yourself, but you're trying to piggyback off why people do it to you. So it's okay for you to do it because insert whatever excuse, but when someone else does it to you, suddenly my little fifis are hurt and I don't like it. That's called double standards. That's called being a hypocrite. Either it's wrong to do always, or it's not. You don't get to pick and choose because you get offended and feel disrespected or whatever. Feeling disrespected and being disrespected are two completely different things, and a lot of you should learn that because it doesn't seem like you do.
Just piggybacking off of other people's own originality and uniqueness. Follow, and I'm not gonna be...
I'm sorry. Originality is a vague term, right? There's not a lot of that nowadays. And uniqueness, same thing. Most of the art styles that people do that are so-called original are basically piggybacking off other people's art styles. You just take one art style from here, take it from there, and suddenly you got your own art style. That's it. Nothing original about that. Like, I love this too because it's the same stupid argument in the AI community. So they bitch and moan about stealing styles and art or whatever, even though they're actually references and whatnot. But people then, when you call them out on their bullshit, get triggered and start disrespecting you. For example, you say, okay, if it's stealing and people are not getting paid, where is the check every time you copy? For example, people love doing Transformers animated style for Transformer characters or for human characters, right? The Transformers animated style is really nice. Guess what? Many artists who do Transformers copy that. Where is the paycheck to the person who created that style? There isn't. Oh, but it's wrong, right? It's stealing, isn't it? Oh, okay, so convenience, right? Okay, how about Tite Kubo, who draws Bleach? People copy his art style. Where's his paycheck? Did you ask for consent? Did you ask for his permission? Hell the fuck you did not. Again, hypocrisy, double standards. You're a hypocrite. And when you get called out on it, you don't like it. You don't like it. Guess what? I was part of the Bleach community myself when I was younger, and guess what? When people drew a lot of the poses were copied from the anime or were copied from the manga. Guess what? 1-to-1 too. Where was the outrage then? Oh, because they were popular artists, no outrage. Oh, because she was a cute girl, no outrage. Oh, because I knew them, no outrage. Hypocrites. Simple as that. If you're not gonna say it's wrong every other time except when it's convenient, then you shouldn't pretend like you have something to stand against, because you don't. All you're playing is moral outrage for no reason other than your hypocrisy because your little feelings got hurt, but it's okay when you do it. Rules for thee, not for me. Okay, whatever.
To say the names right, Libby and Lottie Bell, who seem to be the two people that Sir Gaggle tends to reference from. And then Ray adds, I make original OCs, follow me. And they add cute little art pieces. And then Ray adds, also I want to reiterate, since I'm seeing a lot of people talk about it, that there is no such thing as pose stealing. What he did wrong was tracing, copying OCs, and taking...
What he did, there's no such thing as pose stealing. There's no such thing as pose stealing, but what he did was tracing. That's would be pose stealing. Sherlock. If he's tracing your pose, Jesus Christ, so people don't use their brains. Copying OCs. It would depend what you mean by that, because as I realized these last 10 years that, you know, I use the definition of the words, but people like to put their own definition into words so they can sound righteous and justified and humble. So I want to know what that means. And taking heavy inspiration when asked not to. It's not your job to tell people they can't take heavy inspiration from you. Get that over your head. That's literally what art is about. Heavy inspirations. Or inspirations from any type of level. But okay, sure.
Heavy inspiration when asked not to. And then here we have a post from Jessica, who goes by the Twitter handle Dottie Cuffs, writing, oh, I played these games before, side by side. Hard to see, but this is Sir Gaggle's artwork. And look at the pose. This is Jessica's artwork. Just a little similar.
Yes, you said it yourself. It's a little similar. So who cares? Wow, they're similar. Oh, wow, the world's ending. You don't own that pose. I'm sorry to tell you that. I'm pretty sure many people have done this pose while in relationships and taking pictures, have drawn these poses before in the same manner. So you're not pitchforking after everyone else. It's only when it's convenient, right? When your fifis are hurt.
You know? And then Jessica adds, not that I actually care for this particular instance, I just think it's funny when you also look at the original tweet. And then they...
I mean, you kind of care, so you're kind of contradicting yourself.
Okay, since this is getting a crazy amount of attention for some reason, I'm specifying that I don't actually care about this. I didn't ever say...
Yeah, but you did. That's why you made a point about it. You cared enough to make a point.
Sir Gaggle traced me, because it's obviously not traced. I just thought it was funny and relevant. Do not...
You thought it was funny because it wasn't traced, but you tried to basically imply that it was. Unless I'm taking this the wrong way, because I'm human and I make mistakes. At least I can admit that, unlike some people. But sure.
Not jumpy. By the way, like, I don't know why people are like dogging on Jessica for this. The point that I'm trying to make is that this was just a little joke, and there is some similarities between the two. Again, Jessica never...
If it was supposed to be a joke, you know what? Jokes, right.
Stated, oh, I own the pose of somebody with fluffy hair holding onto another character. Just a silly little tweet, looks a little similar. And again, the whole thing, it's all about taking everything...
Unless I am wrong here, and I'm willing to admit that much. Maybe they just posted it to make fun of the person who's crying about the pose. That could be valid. That could be right. If that's the case, then fine. If it's not the case, and they're being butthurt about it, then they're in the wrong. But if it's just a joke to make fun of the person that's crying about their post being used, then good on them. That's funny. See, people, I'm not perfect, but I can also admit and be like, oh, okay, I'll give you an olive branch. Maybe you're doing this to make fun of the original guy who's being an idiot.
Text, guys, and taking everything together in the full picture. And when you see that this artist has a history of over-referencing to blatantly copying people's artwork, that is the issue. And here we have a tweet by Yowie Flavor, that's their Twitter handle, and their name reads Valentine, writing, I stopped being mutuals with them after this because it pissed me off. One, because it took me DMing them to at least credit me for heavy inspo.
Yes, you can tell people to please credit you, but they don't have to, they don't want to. And you're gonna see why, because this is funny as shit.
I keep hearing about them doing this to other artists as well. It's skill if you have to like copy to this point, you know? Like if you have to...
Alright, so let's see. She's skinnier. Wait, whose pose is this? Is this hers? I can't tell. Let's see. If this is the person who did it, let's see. Fatter, ugly girl. Uh, let's see. Different hairstyle, fatter, different colored pants, different colored shirt. The heart is done differently. And the kiss my ass is in a different font and in another section. Wow. Unless I'm supposed to be looking at this one. I don't know which one it is. But let's hear it then.
Reference this much. So here, this is Sir Gaggle's artwork, writing "Reach out and touch faith," and it is their character kind of like sticking their butt at the camera with a black heart in the background, and it reads "Kiss my ass." Look at Valentine's artwork. It is a character wearing the same kind of like bell-bottom jeans, sticking their butt out at the camera with a black heart in the background, and it reads "Kiss my ass." Like.
Okay, so now let's go and sue everyone who's wearing bell-bottom jeans, because that's plagiarism. Or anyone who's drawn a character with bell-bottom jeans. Again, the mathing here.
Like the black heart, the same text. They're both wearing similar style pants.
It's the same text. Well, not really either, because he has an exclamation mark and she doesn't. Or he doesn't. I don't know. I'm just going to call it they, because I don't know which gender. Well, I know he's a he, but I don't know if that's a she. So he has different font, has a different style black heart. Similarities, sure. Different font, similar text, but it's missing an exclamation point. The character is thinner and sexier. The character is fatter. Similar faces, maybe. That's the most you can go at. This one looks like bell-bottom jeans, and this one looks like she's just fat. And her jeans barely fit her. Again, you don't own the pose.
As the colorway, their outfit color is the same too, like a really dark color.
Where's the same color? See, this is what I'm talking about, being fucking disingenuous. This is what I hate about these kind of people that think they're the moral police of everything, or a community, self-assigned community police, because their life is so unimportant that they have to, you know, do shit like this to find themselves to feel cool and get attention from others. Again, where's the same color? Because this is like a grayish color. This is black. This is like a grayish jean with like a lighter tone and different hue, different colors. The only thing that's similar is the fucking hair color, if that. Because this one could be like a dark red, like a very blackish red, and this one could be like a blackish something else. So yeah, even the backgrounds are different colors, at least from what I can tell from here. Or maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm smoking, but yeah.
Colored top and dark gray wash jeans. Yeah, Valentine's art is so pretty. This is such a beautiful piece. But come on, like this is the whole copy my homework but don't make it obvious. Yeah, especially because they were mutuals. That makes it worse because you know they've seen your artwork. Sometimes people like to argue plausible deniability. They're like, I didn't see your artwork.
Sorry about that.
That makes it worse because you know they've seen your artwork. Sometimes people like to argue plausible to make it obvious. Sometimes art is so pretty. This is such a beautiful piece. But come on, like this is the whole copy my homework but don't make it obvious.
That's not a good argument, to be honest. It's really not. First of all, this is not homework. That's number one. Number two, you know, you don't own the pose. Number three, you can have similarities in your artwork. But again, this is different. This is different enough to where the person can't really get in trouble, but people try to justify the bullshit. Yes, there's similarities. Having similarities is not a crime. And again, if you're going to use a company suing people for similarities, again, company wants to win money. They'll do anything for it. And most companies are not out here left and right suing people. They actually like that their fan base is actually doing their own OCs and similar poses. You know how many Spider-Man OCs are doing cover poses and they haven't been sued by Marvel? Like, let's be honest here. This is not the... What's the word? This is not the social justice activist fight that you think it is. It's not. There's a better word for it, but I can't think of it.
Yeah, especially because they were mutuals. That makes it worse because you know they've seen your artwork. Sometimes.
Yes, they saw your artwork and got inspired. Wow, it's almost like that's how art works. Especially if they like what you did and they want to replicate it with their own OCs. and still had enough to and still try to change it enough to where like it's a reference from yours, but it's their own way of doing it.
People like to argue plausible deniability. They're like, I didn't see your artwork, but if y'all are mutuals.
Again, I've seen this in the when I'm still in DeviantArt, but you know, when it was more popular DeviantArt, I've seen all that already, and no one was having pitchforks at anyone. It was a small minority of stupid people, and guess what? We made fun of them for that.
So Valentine, as I too reference poses, as my kiss my ass piece was inspired by a Betty Boop emoji. However, the composition being the same is nuts. I don't know how nobody clocked that. Sorry, I'm done being polite for a second, but give me my follows and likes back.
Okay, so you referenced the poses as the kiss my ass piece was inspired by Betty Boop emoji. Wow, so you copied from someone else, but it's okay for you to do it because you gave credit, but it's wrong because they didn't give credit. Make that make sense. Again, you're not entitled to credit. It's something, it is not an obligation. It is not a requirement. It's something that is nice and people want because it helps you get traction and people at least know that it was you who drew it. It's nice. I'm not saying, look, and let me say it. I'm not saying don't give credit. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you want people to give credit, you ask them politely. And it's not an obligation. This is not a contract. If it was a contract, they're obligated to give you credit for it. This is not a contract, right? This is someone who was inspired by your work and didn't have to credit you if they didn't want to. It's that simple. You're not owed that. It's like the AI people when they cry about how AI is stealing and taking their jobs and etc. And you know, they had no consent and whatnot, but yet when they do it and they didn't ask for consent. Again, no consent. They didn't pay the person and etc. So again, hypocrisy, double standards.
Back, bitch. You can't outdo the doer. Right.
Hold on. And this is what it truly is. This is. I'm glad this person said at least they're honest about it, right? Even though they're contradicting themselves. Sorry, I'm done being polite for a second, but give me my follows and likes back, bitch. So this is not about morals or ethics. This is about you took my follows and my likes. So you're just telling on yourself. This is mostly what it is. This is why people bitch about AI art. This is why people cry about things they shouldn't be crying about when it comes to the art community. And the art community nowadays likes to bitch and moan like they own everything when they don't.
The same is nuts. I don't know how nobody clocked that. Sorry, I'm done being polite for a second, but give me my follows and likes back, bitch. You can't outdo the doer. But anyway, I draw too. Dude, their art is so pretty. I love their use of shapes in their posing. And then they added, also, I think this is the last thing I'm gonna say. I'm not gatekeeping the pose. I don't care if somebody uses it because it's not mine. But to say this piece wasn't basically a copy and paste of my piece with a heart background and all is just wrong. And I'll die.
Yes, the heart thing, but it's not your piece. They did what you basically did. You copied all this and added a heart and then put the kiss my ass on the side, and then they did the same stupid thing from based off inspired by yours and put the heart and put the words where they normally were with a different font and a different shape to the heart and different clothing and etc. So when you do it, it's okay because you credited the person, but when they do it, it's wrong because they didn't credit you. You're not obligated for a credit, my guy. You're crying about something you just did to another artist who made that. And you think that because you gave, if we're gonna use your logic here, you think that it's okay because you gave credit. Let's use your logic. Either way, even if you gave credit or not, it should be wrong. But it's not because it's not convenient to you. It's okay that you want your likes and follows, but you know, what you're doing is not moral or ethical. It's not, as much as you guys like to pretend it is. And I'm going to keep repeating myself because I want to drive the point to you guys.
die on that hill. I agree with you. You're not crazy. And the problem isn't with him using the post in the first place. It's having a pattern of going under his mutuals' noses, copying what they do, and not wanting to give them credit at all, and even blocking artists that they don't see. If that's not slimeball behavior, then I don't know. By the
No, it's because it's annoying. If you want to cry, if you're gonna come to me crying, and I'm pretty sure you didn't post everything you said, because I know how people act in the art community. And I'll try to give you the benefit of the doubt, but I don't really believe that, because I know how the art community is, because I'm part of it. You know, again, you can ask someone kindly to give you credit for something, but they don't really have to. It's not a moral obligation. It's not an ethical obligation. It's not even legal. It's not even an illegal problem or a legal problem. So you're shit out of luck. It's that simple. Similarities are not a problem. You know how many people have been giving me credit? You know how many people have posted my pictures around the internet and haven't been giving me credit? For example, I do cosplay as well. Not gonna tell you what page that is. And I'm very popular in the cosplay community, right? And here's the problem, right? When I went to this one con, which is a picture of me and other couple guys, with a celebrity that I won't mention, someone took that picture and turned it into a meme. And the only reason I found out about it is because someone showed me the picture being turned into a meme. Did I cry because no one credited me? No. All I said was, look, that's awesome and it's funny. And by the way, this is me in the picture with a couple people. That's it. I didn't tell them, I didn't demand them to give me credit for anything. If they didn't want to give me credit, that's cool and dandy. That's fine. I'm not sitting and losing sleep over it. That's the difference between me and a lot of you. Do I want the credit? Sure. Would it help my cosplay channels? Sure. But again, I live in realism. I don't live in a fairy tale land. I live in reality. I said realism. Art speak.
the way, like, it's always my pet peeve when artists try to call out somebody else in their life, like a mutual or whatever, for nefarious behavior they've done, and then people just like gaslight the shit out of them. I feel
No, it's not, it's because it's not gaslighting. Because if you're doing this right, and the majority argument is not always right because the majority can be wrong, but in this instance, people are telling you that you're wrong for what you did, and you'll see.
I feel like most artists are not trigger happy, right? Being like, you're copying her. There are people like that, but I feel like most artists do not. Most artists get pushed to a breaking point, and then at that breaking point, they're like, okay, fine, I'm fed up with this behavior. I'm gonna make a call out because I'm tired, okay?
Yeah, but again, that's a you problem. That's you not regulating your own emotions and then getting butthurt because someone did a similar post to you or traced your post or traced your pose. See, there's a difference between tracing a pose and tracing an actual picture. Like if someone literally traced her and just changed her hair color, then yes, I would say that you're in the right? I would say, okay, you're making a good point. Now tell them to fuck off, and that's wrong, right? But even then, you can't control that people do that, right? Publicly shaming them for it, I guess you can do that. Yeah, sure. But again, I'm not a big fan of mob mentality. Like, yeah, I'll be like, look, this person, if you see this picture, this person basically stole my art and is claiming it to be theirs. And that's it. I was like, and if you want to help, just report their post. Don't attack them or anything like that. Something like that. You know what I mean? And even then, it is what it is, man, to be honest, right? Because, for example, I also do cosplay work. And I made a specific item that I'm not gonna talk about. This was me. I created this item myself. Like, the design was all original for me. I was the one that invented it, and then someone went to another artist and told them that they wanted the same items that I made, but for less. So basically, They went to another artist and told them that they wanted them to do the very same thing I did. I guess because they were going to get to pay less for the item, which is fine. And then I saw it and I told the person, listen, I don't like the fact that you're passing it off as your own idea when it's not. This is my idea. I'm the guy that originally created it. Can you at least give me some credit? That's it. If they wouldn't have, it is what it is. Would I be a little pissed off? Maybe. But I'm not going to turn it into a whole war zone over it. It is what it is. You can't. There's people that are going to do stupid shit all the time. It is what it is. And then sometimes what you don't like, just because you don't like something doesn't make you right. So there has to be a happy medium. And that's the problem, that people take everything to extremes. There's never nuance or a middle ground to resolve anything. It's always an extreme of something. And it's usually one side that is more extreme than the other. Right? So the person, you guess what the person did? The person was like, oh, I didn't know, my bad, here you go, and put my name under it, and said, yeah, this guy made this mask. I just, was told by this guy to make a mask for him that looks similar to this. Okay, cool. Not a problem. Guess what? Another person went on Etsy, took pictures of my mask, right? And decided, hey, I made this and I'm selling this for $700. So I saw that and I told the person, I was like, listen, this is scamming and you're lying. Not because they stole my art and they're making money off of it. It's because the mask that I made, there should only be at least 4 to 5 in existence right now. Even maybe less. Like, I think the most there's 4 masks in existence so far. I sold 4 of them. One of them was to someone famous, like a celebrity, or basically a person that's been in a movie. Won't say who. Mind your business. Right? And the only reason I was pissed off was, well, there was a couple of reasons why I was pissed off actually. So the fact that someone tried to say that they made this mask using my pictures. And the other reason is because I didn't want anyone else to get scammed out of their money. So what did I do? I went to people and said, look, these are my pictures. This is my mask. There's only so much in existence, like 4 of them. And they don't have this mask. So they're lying to you. What I would do is report them. And that's it. Because what they're doing is they're scamming other people, and I don't want other people to get scammed. That's the only reason I did it. I didn't do it because I was trying to be a social justice activist. I didn't do it because I was butthurt. I did it simply because it was the right thing to do. And that's it. Which is fine. But I didn't go into a whole fucking crusade about it. I just said, look, be careful not to buy from this person because this person's lying. They don't have the mask, and these are the pictures that they stole from my account. Simple as that. I was like, and if you want, you can report them. That's it. I didn't act crazy. And I wasn't trying to act like I had this moral superiority complex and all this other bullshit you're seeing in this video. It's crazy.
Like, the artist must have felt enough reason over an extended period of time of behavior from that individual to go out and make a call out post. Again, of course, there's toxic people, right, who will constantly be calling people out for no reason.
Yes, and this is kind of toxic here. Just like your YouTube channel, because this is all you do in your YouTube channel. Literally. All that you do in your YouTube channel is bitch and moan about whether people are tracing or using AI and etc. Like, do something with your life, bro. There's nothing wrong with trying to keep people aware of scammers, but when you're trying to group everyone as a scammer and you're trying to turn it into a whole moral crusade that it's not, and you're pretentious as fuck, yeah, there's a problem.
But most artists don't do that most of the time, so let's give some benefit.
Yeah, most artists are not assholes, and they don't cry about everything. This is just a small number of people. It's like the whole AI thing. Most people are okay with the whole AI thing, right? It's a minority of people that are crying and pretending the world's ending. It's just like here. Most people are okay with post tracing and understand that a lot of times people are just gonna do this, and the only thing you could probably do is let people be aware about, hey, don't buy this piece of art from them because they stole it. But it's up to people what they want to do. You can't force anything on anyone. That's the thing that people gotta understand. You can't force your views on others. And there are fights that you just look at and be like, there's no point in fighting it. Like, imagine if I got into a fight with someone every time they did something I didn't like. Guess what? People are always going to do things that you don't like, and that's part of life. Again, I'm pretty sure there's a page out there stealing my work and selling it as their own. Am I over here spending my time every day looking for a page to see if they're stealing my shit or not? No. Good on them then, I guess. Who the fuck cares? It's like the AI thing. Oh, you're mad because someone's making money off of AI. Who cares? Do you see me going around? Oh, this person's making money off of AI. That's wrong. No.
Of a doubt. It rubs you like so much. It kind of like sandpapers your soul down a little bit, And then finally, after the final straw, where you're like, the black heart too, Like at that point, then it's like, I'm gonna call them out because I'm tired. Valentine, I'm on your side. Who is gaslighting you? Because the black heart is the same, like the kiss my ass, right?
It's not really the same. Thicker, differently positioned. This one's leaning to the left. It's crooked. It's leaning to the left. This one is not really. Like, it's leaning a little bit, but it's not the same way. Like, you can tell line-wise, you can tell shape-wise, you can tell font-wise, and etc. You're you're trying to claim that it's yours because you added a heart in the background and did a gothic aesthetic, right? And yet, both of these are derivatives of the Betty Boop pose, who is also, quote unquote, if I would say, almost goth looking. I know it's just a black and white. I'm just being stupid, but yeah.
I know it's inspired by the Betty Boop, but the black heart, that was
So you admit it. You fucking admit it. But when you say but, that kind of nullifies your argument and makes it invalid. This is I know this is a derivative of Betty Boop, but it's not okay that they're doing that, even though I did it. Now, that makes no sense. I'm not saying she's the one that made the picture, but I'm just using the argument against her. Or the artist anyways.
Extra added by you. The outfit is the same too. Like, come on, they're wearing very similar bell bottom gray wash jeans with the same black heels. Look at the black heels. Look at the same.
Yes, there's this. There's similar black heels. You could tell that this was drawn, and it's not the same. It's not really traced. And a lot of women wear black heels, man. Especially in the goth community, like.
They're both wearing a dark colored top too, and you might be like, well,
her top is darker. This is a lighter dark, so not the same. This is a lighter color. This is a darker color. She's white. She's not. Yeah. Reaching.
The character also had like a grayscale aesthetic. They couldn't make a shirt a light gray. It had to be also dark gray too. Like, this is too much. Even like the shading of the pants is similar.
This is black and this is a dark gray. It's not the same thing.
Too. And you might be like, well, that's just how you shade pants, but like the direction of where the lighting is coming from looks the same too. Like, I just personally get a little heated because a lot of times people would try.
So now we're bitching about the lighting. The lighting's the same. I'm gonna start suing people now when I walk out on the street. But like, hey, I'm suing you. Why? Because the sun is shining on you and it's creating a similar lighting.
Try to gaslight artists to be like, oh, you're overthinking it, or like you're too much in your head.
Yeah, because they're right. To be fair, you're up your own ass. You really are. To a point that it's actually pathetic. And no amount of justifying that is gonna make you right.
Again, the behavior must have happened to the point where it made the artist uncomfortable enough to finally.
But you don't know that. And so fucking what? Learn to control yourself. Like, okay. It keeps coming out similar. They keep tracing your posts. Okay. Look, I know people who probably do the same thing to my art. You don't see me crying. The other day, I'm in an art server, and I was live streaming me drawing, and I was also checking another person's live stream while drawing. And they literally were tracing over a picture of someone else, the pose, and put grid lines to learn how to do stuff like that, to learn the shape and etc. And some people did the same, and some people have done the same of tracing a pose to draw their OC in the same pose. Who cares, bro? It's just a pose. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. It really is not. It's not that deep.
Call it out. So then Sir Gaggle had put out a statement, and this statement was March 10th, 4 a.m. in the morning. I slept at like 6 a.m. today this morning. But that was before Valentine's post, and they privated their account after Valentine's post, which came out like 8 hours later. But they write, "Hi guys, I'd like to make a thread about what's been said about me. I want to say I'm very sorry for not making this earlier, as I was with my family who has come from another country. But I will not shy away from this and act as if it's not happening. First of all, I want to talk about the copying other people's OCs thing. With my OC Marina, she had been heavily copied off of one of Thieves' characters, which I redesigned nearly straight away and apologized for it in DMs. Do you see that?
Okay. Okay, this might be a point where they're actually in the wrong, but let's see. Let's see here for a minute. Let's look at this for a second, right? The tops are not the same, right? Because this one cuts off here. It's a crop top, and this one does not. This one goes all the way down, right? We don't know the skin color of this person. He has skin color. We don't know the color of the clothing. He has clothing color. She has booty shorts, right? Or at least that's what I can see. It looks like booty shorts, yes.
Right here.
Ah, shit. Sorry about that. So she has booty shorts here. She does not have booty shorts. Her hair is straight. Her hair is not straight. So even though, quote unquote, it was supposed to be a copy of this character, they look pretty much different. Pretty much different. So, again, reach. And I think what's happening is that some people, the problem with a lot of people is that, for example, there's this artist that I follow, and because he used AI for an example of doing something, suddenly people started attacking him and cursing him out because he used AI. So he apologized for doing that because he said something about, oh, I didn't look at it in people's feelings. See, it comes to feelings. So he had to apologize because someone else's feelings were hurt because he used AI, to demonstrate something. And he can actually draw. So now he apologizes because he offended someone's fucking feelings because his feelings don't matter. Like, okay, so feelings matter until they're not your feelings. So he has to give a fuck about your feelings, but fuck his feelings, right? Make that make sense. Anyways, now every time he posts anything, he has to show a video that he drew it from beginning to end, so people don't giving him shit, and people still give him shit. This is what happens when you care when you care about what people have to say, when you live your life on what other people believe and think of you or what you do. That's a problem. And again, let's be real here. There's similarities for sure, but totally different clothing, totally different character, and the pose is not exactly the same. And even if it was the same pose, who cares? Right? Again, not the same character. Heavily inspired by this character for sure, but not the same character. You know how many fucking people do this? Even in the industry? Don't give me that bullshit. Even in fandoms. Don't give me that bullshit, and no problem. Again, selective outrage. Hypocrisy, double standards. Dare I say it more? Then I'm pretty sure someone tried to give him shit over it, and it's different when you say something politely and whatnot, but knowing the community, they don't sit, when they get butthurt on their feelings, there's nothing nice about it. I will show you some Twitter stuff, some Twitter stuff to prove the point. That's going to be about AI. But first I want to finish this video. And then they felt bad because they were probably threatened and cursed at and treated like shit, so they had to redesign the character a little bit more. Or maybe this is the copied version, and then they had to redesign it to this, because I just realized that. My bad, my mistake. So this could have been the original. Even then, it still looked different enough, right? It looks similar but different, and then they had to redesign it to make her look like this, which still looks kind of similar, at least here, but you know what I mean? It doesn't matter, bro. It's not that deep. Even in anime this happens. There's characters who literally dress the same. There's literally people who will make a character that looks similar to a fan character, similar to the other character, because they want it to be twin sisters. What, is that now wrong? Like, again, this is why context matters. This is why we shouldn't base things off emotional arguments. Feelings don't override reality. I'm sorry to tell you that. Even if they were somewhat similar, it's not exactly the same. So kindly go fuck yourself.
She had been heavily copied off of one of Livy's characters, which I redesigned nearly straight away and apologized for it in DMs. Wait, see, like...
Yes, but he apologized for it, but you gotta remember, a lot of people are taught that if someone gets butthurt about something, even when they're wrong, you're not supposed to argue it. You're just supposed to say you're sorry, because their feelings should matter more than logic itself, which is why people don't like me, because when people try to bullshit me and manipulate me with feelings and emotions, I get pissed off and I tell them to fuck off, and I go and break down their fucking arguments, why their arguments don't work and why I don't give a fuck about their feelings. That's why people don't like me, because I'm supposed to give a shit about your feelings. Now,
right here. Then they add, another thing is my OC, Aryan. I'm not sure how to say that name. Sorry, I'm really bad at pronouncing names. It's said to be a copy of another creator's OC, which is not true. Aryan is an OC I've had since 2013, and he had spiky hair then. I had given him a buzz cut, but I decided on changing it back. Now onto the tracing part. All the screenshots I haven't taken of DMs I have apologized for, and I know that was wrong. With my newest drawing, it shows being heavily inspired by one of the drawings from Lobby Bell, and the start sketch being traced. I know that is true, and I'm not saying it isn't. But the rest of the drawing isn't, as I use that sketch as a reference to fix up. So here you can see this.
Yes, exactly. And that's okay to do. That's not a problem. You could trace over a pose. And even it's not entirely traced, because they even said it. Yeah, I traced over it and then I fixed it because they didn't like the pose, and then they drew their OC over it. That's okay. You can do that. That's not a legal problem or anything like that. You don't have to give credit if you don't want to. You know how many times I share pictures that don't belong to me, and half the time I don't even credit the person unless someone asks me directly. Then I'll give them the person's name and where I got it from. I just like, look what I found on the internet. Oh, look, this one artist did. Oh, who's the artist? Oh, here you go. If they don't ask me, I don't give a fuck. People do the same shit to me. Let's be realistic here. I'm gonna spend 6 hours looking for the artist who made it? No, I'm not doing that. And yes, that's an exaggeration, but I'm still not gonna spend 10 minutes looking for the artist unless I really like the art and I want to tell them that it's awesome and etc. Or someone asks me for it. Other than that, no. So half the time I probably tell them, yeah, go find it. Here's the person's name, or go try to find it with Google search. Like, it is what it is, man. My problem, I'm not saying don't give credit and whatever, but this entitled behavior, this fucking moral outrage, this selective outrage is pathetic and hypocritical. I don't have a problem when people, don't like certain things. My problem is when you're a fucking hypocrite and you have double standards and you want to put rules on other people that you yourself don't follow. It's like, right? I play music, you play music loudly, and I don't like your music and I don't say anything, but I let you play your music, and then when I play my music, suddenly because you don't like my music and I'm playing it loudly, you want to bitch and moan. No, I'm gonna tell you to go fuck yourself. I've had that happen before too. And I told the person, go fuck yourself. Don't expect from me what you won't. Don't expect me, right, to do for you what you don't have the dignity or the compassion to do for me. Don't expect something out of me that you wouldn't do for me. It's hypocritical. It's the same thing here.
Side by side, right? Where they literally were like tracing a pose off of the art piece and then their own version, their fixed up version. Then they write, I have done the same thing with real life poses, but I now realize the difference between the two and will stick to real life poses and just stop using other art as references. Another thing is I did not make Juliana a trans man for clout.
Yeah, but the problem is that you are allowed to do that even if, because all those artists are taking inspirations from things they've seen or poses they look at. Sometimes I draw with references. Sometimes I draw it, most of the time I draw it out of my head, but sometimes I use references. Every artist uses references. So every time people are drawing, using a reference is the same shit. The only difference is that you're not tracing it. And some people trace the reference. I've done it. So what? Sometimes, like even concept artists do it. You know how many videos of concept artists I've seen them take a part of another picture, put it on top of their character, draw and trace over it, change it slightly, and put it there. No pitchforks. No complaining in the comment section. Nothing. Not zip. Nothing. Nada. Again, selective outrage. Sometimes when I had issues drawing when I was a younger artist, I would do the same thing. If I didn't know how to draw pockets, either I'll look at a reference to draw it, or I'll get the picture, draw all over it, and turn it into my own thing, and then that's it. Like, for example, because I know some of you stupid people are gonna take this the wrong way. For example, I would get a gun reference, post it, manipulate it to the angle that I wanted to, draw over it, right, as a base, delete the other picture, and then start modifying it to be the gun that I want it to be. Because if you're able to use shortcuts to make your art faster, people do that. People do that in concept art communities. People do that in the art community in fucking general. It's just that a lot of people pretend like they don't, because they want to make a problem out of something that they do themselves so they can seem moral. Because I've even seen arguments where it says, oh, you can do it, it's fine, just don't show it publicly. What the fuck is the difference? Or don't tell people that you did it. The fuck is the difference? So it's okay. So they're willing to bitch about it because it's public and no credit. But when you look at it, they don't have a problem with the issue itself. It's that they are butthurt because they didn't get the likes and follows that they think that they deserve because you didn't credit them, or maybe you did, but your picture is better, so they're butthurt because you made a better picture than they did. It's mostly those arguments. For the most part, it's never really a legit reason to bitch about the things that half these people bitch and moan about. Most of it is hypocrisy, double standards, selective outrage, and etc.
I did it so he can be more like me and kind of remind me you don't have to look a certain way to be accepted, as I don't look like a guy at all. This is on Sir Geigel's alt, where they write, first time I drew her and today. And somebody comments, I also find it kind of crazy. They used to she, her, they're now trans man OC until they found out making him trans would get him more attention. Sir Geigel continues, I decided I'm...
See, and that's another thing. So this person claims to be trans, right? And basically now this person's saying that they're turning their character trans because they want attention. What? And that's a problem. That's not okay either, and that's what I'm talking about. No matter what you do or say, there's always going to be some asshole that's never happy and is a miserable piece of shit that's always going to say some stupid shit, bitch about you for some stupid reason, and etc. That's why you never should care or apologize when people come at you for the most stupidest reason. If it's legit, I would agree that it was legit. And even then, if it's a legit reason, there's people that take it out of proportion, right? But this is not really legit. It's really not. Art hasn't been original for some time now because it's so saturated and everyone's, well, not everyone, but as an exaggeration, everyone and their grandma's doing it now. And most ideas today are not original. I have characters that are inspired by other characters that exist, and I take ideas from other characters that I like and I fuse them together into one form of idea. For example, right? I make Bleach characters. I love Bleach, my favorite series. So, for example, I recently created a character. Doesn't have a name yet, so I gave him a Zanpakuto. His Zanpakuto is heavily inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's and Springtrap. Right? That's the heavy inspiration that is coming from. So what does his Zanpakuto do? So I take that concept of Five Nights at Freddy's and Springtrap and I turn it into a Zanpakuto. For example, the Zanpakuto basically causes fear and anxiety and etc. Especially when you're cutting people with it, and an entity pops out of nowhere. Like you get so paranoid that you start seeing like something in the corner of your eye, so that makes you unfocused in battle, which will give the opponent a reason to finish you off, and you get screwed. And after some time, that if you're still alive, surprisingly, that entity actually comes out of nowhere, jump scares you, and kills you. Essentially, that's basically what it does, or it causes a lot of damage. Almost fatal. And that the Bankai for that essentially puts you in a rundown restaurant where you're being chased by this entity, and it's inspired by Five Nights at Freddy's. Do you think that's original? Not fucking really. What I did was I took an established concept that I like and turned it into an ability for a sword. Wow, that's very fucking original. It's really not. People do that all the time, bro. It's not that deep. It's not that deep. You can even go and you can exactly copy the other person's Zanpakuto. For example, there's a Bleach episode or movie called Ice something, and basically you find out that two Soul Reapers have the same Zanpakuto ability. Both of them have Hyorin Maru, which is extremely rare. Don't know how that makes sense, but yes. And essentially the other person's Hyorin Maru is purple while the other person's blue. You can do that. If you decided to copy another character's Zanpakuto and change it slightly, you could do that. I've seen people do that. I've seen someone with a Zangetsu, which is Ichigo's Zanpakuto, but their Zangetsu does something different or looks different when they go into Bankai. Or even if it looks similar, there's people that do that. Like, again, context matters. Because if you want a character that's a legit twin of another character, you can create that character, right? But I would say you have to change it up a little bit so you don't get copyrighted, because that's an IP. But that's not because it's wrong. It's mostly because the company will come after you because greed and money. But then the same company will go, oh, maybe I should give this character a twin brother who's similar or looks exactly the same. But it's their IP, so they can do it. But then if you do it, somehow it's infringing upon them, so they get mad because they want money and etc. Which makes sense, I guess. But again, hypocrisy. It's based on hypocrisy. And that's the problem with a lot of these laws too, because people want to use the copyright law, but even the copyright law doesn't save you, and a lot of times the court is biased and takes the other person's side. So like, people are hypocritical, man. That's the ultimate. People are evil, greedy, selfish, and hypocritical, and always want to put rules on you that they don't follow themselves. That's just the gist of it. And I don't want to keep doing this video.
Take a break and will not be posting on Twitter for a while, due to more reasons than just this. I'd like to apologize to the people who I've hurt.
It's just the same shit over and over at the end. I already saw this.
And I am very sorry for everything I've done.
I just thought that basically I wanted to make a response to it because it's getting fucking old to hear this shit. But here's the irony of this, right? So let me switch to this, and I'm gonna switch this to okay, so do that. The very same people who cry about AI and all this other bullshit, let me give you an example of what they are. Let's see, it says, honestly, AI artists should off themselves. It gets to the point, man. We need to off AI artists. We have to off AI artists. We need to off AI artists, even if it says a parody account, you know they mean that. We have to off AI artists if they can be artists at all. Talentless AI generators on their way to steal someone's art and feed it to a machine to make it look uglier. It's not really stealing. It's basically the same thing that people do to learn art reference of someone else. Yeah, sure, it's not a human brain, but it's still a machine's brain, and the machine's brain needs references to learn from so they can create their own. It's the same thing. Shitty arguments that people don't know how to make. A lot of emotional shit. So-called AI artists should off themselves. We need to off AI artists. I think every artist should be able to off an AI artist without any repercussions. We have to off AI artists. We have to off AI artists. We have to off AI artists. We need to off AI artists. We should let artists off every person who participates in the ugly ass Gibi art trend. We have to off artists. We need to eliminate all. We need to off all AI artists. Use the term incredibly loosely because they'll fucking do is type a prompt. They are making everything actively worse and fake and talentless. Stop. And slop, even though shitty artists can make slop too. And a lot of artists make slop. But let's pretend, I guess, we have to off AI artists. So this is the people in the crowd that get angry because you either use AI or essentially, you decided to trace a pose. Look at this. So this is a okay, let's see. Artists should be allowed to off AI artists per day. Can't stop staring at this reply. There's too much to unpack here, right? This is the normal version, I'm guessing, and this is the AI. Let's see. I don't know which one's the AI and which one's the other one. Either or. But neither looks bad. They both look pretty cool, to be honest. So this one looks a little weird, but it is what it is. Nature of AI, I guess. Again, this is where you're getting your this is where you're getting your morals and etc. from people like this. But tracing over a pose and using AI is the problem, not the people that are telling you to go off yourself. These AI stop makers use it to bully, control, and of course steal, tarnish original artwork made by humans. Just disgusting. Even though they do the same thing. It's all hypocritical. It's all hypocrisy, man. I'm sorry. I already made enough points, and I'm pretty sure you're all tired of hearing me say the same shit. So, with that being said, right, I'll see you guys next time, and thank you for being here. This has been your boy Seeker with another one. I'm not making videos as crazy as I used to. But if you want me to cover something, let me know. I mostly try to keep it, you know, game related. So comment in the comment section below and let me know what you guys want to see for next time. Again, I appreciate it. I know this is an hour long, and I appreciate you sticking by it. And I'll see you next time. Later.